I love it. I love that music of the. So, hi, everybody. Heather Cook here, Principal Customer Experience PM from the Microsoft Customer Advocacy Group for Microsoft 365 at Microsoft. Did I say Microsoft enough? I think I did. How are you, everybody? Welcome to our PM January version of our general session for the MGCI. Look at that. Comments already. Hello, folks. Yeah, look at that. Good afternoon, good evening, and all of that to all of you around the world. We are a global experience. So thanks for tuning in on the MTC, the Microsoft Tech Community, or on YouTube. We're streaming live on both, so that's super exciting. And I want to give it a shout out to Daniel Zana on the background of doing our production there. So thank you, Daniel, for helping us out today, as usual. We had Aaron this morning. Let's get into our fabulous slides here, and we'll get started because we've got lots of good stuff today. So we will, this is it. Here we go. Event code of conduct. When we're doing all of our virtual and live events in person, we have code of conducts, and just on the chat, be kind to each other, create a welcoming and safe environment, and note that we're always trying to do our best with each other. And so watch that code of conduct for sure. How about the next slide? So what is this and why are we here? So the Microsoft Global Initiative, if you are new to this, if you're like, wait a minute, I just saw this pop up on the Microsoft Community Learning YouTube, and I'm not sure what this is. So welcome, first of all. And secondarily, we've got those famous aka.ms links at the bottom, which is our URL shortener for all of our websites and web pages out there in the world. So if you want to go to aka.ms MGCI, you can learn more about this global community initiative, which is all about empowering people in local, regional, global areas to put on more events. A lot of those beautiful technical skilling events that you all put on and go to. So if you're a budding event producer, or if you're a longtime event producer, we love everybody being part of the initiative to both help each other and also to learn from each other about how to produce events. So you can sign up to get into the MGCI by using that MGCI sign up that leads you to a form that will invite you to our community tenant and all of the fabulous templates and playbooks and notes and ability to talk to other people in the initiative. So please do sign up. It's all about communicating with each other, learning from each other, and collaborating. Next slide. And that takes us to our agenda for today. A few announcements, subcommittee updates. Our subcommittee is made up of board members and regional leaders who are from our community, non-Microsoft employees. We've got an amazing speaker who was on with us this morning, who had some amazing kind of real-time things to deal with being a speaker, all talking about using Microsoft Teams and using cameras and microphones. So Audrius is going to be with us here in a moment. Then we'll talk a little bit about events and potentially take some of your questions as well. So next slide. Like I was saying, our mission is to really help amplify people who are putting on events for the Microsoft ecosystem, providing you production training, blogs, networking opportunities, learning from each other, best practices, and just being part of that community thing, something that's bigger than yourself, right? Being a part of the Microsoft ecosystem. So that is our mission. Next slide. Why should you join? Like I was saying earlier, there's all these opportunities to promote your events. If you are a budding speaker and you'd like to try and get into the speaking circuit on our communitydays.org site, you can look for calls for speakers and submit a session. If you are a business that would like to sponsor some of these events around the world, there are always calls for sponsors on communitydays.org too. Communitydays.org is a website that houses all of the community events in and around Microsoft. And it's a part of the MGCI. So it's one of those subcommittees that we have that we'll talk about here a little bit more in a minute. But there's great opportunities through the MGCI to learn and to connect and to share. So next slide. these are our board officers. All of these folks volunteer their time. They're out in the community. A lot of them are Microsoft MVPs or regional leads. A lot of them are user group leaders, and many of them own their own businesses. They work for other partners, all kinds of people on our board. And then we also have 60 regional leads as well. So if you want to check out more bios and information on all of our board members and our regional leads, you can go to that aka.ms MGCI area and look for the advisors tab there, and that'll show you all the folks that are on there. And this week, I'm really excited. We're going to get a brand new listing page up there that will show you where everybody is from in the world, so that you can say, I live in, Uruguay or wherever, and go, is there a regional lead there? And so I'm really excited that we're going to push that out too. So next slide. We've got some, we've been experimenting. I think all of us who are into technology or passionate about technology are always into trying to figure out like what's new, what do I want to use for the different aspects of my job or running a community. And so we've been going through and testing, working on live streaming out to YouTube and on the Microsoft Tech community, this particular call. We used to do a Teams call. There's some people that were like, oh, I love the Teams call because I miss the interaction of the teams. And some people were like, oh, I like this broadcast. It's easy to get to on, say, YouTube, or I really like the functionality on MTC. So we're playing around a little bit. And so this month we're hosting here, February, we might make some changes. We do have a feedback QR code that will come later in the call, where you can, in any of the, either on YouTube or on MTC, let us know. You're like, I miss Teams meetings, or I really like this format. Love to hear from you on what you think and feel about that. We're looking at that across all of our community calls. There's a M365 champions call. There's a small and medium business call. I know there's like the M365 platform and Power Platform community call. We do a lot of these kind of calls. So we're always looking to improve how we do things, and what technology we use. And Audrius is going to talk a little bit about tips and tricks around Teams meetings and these things as well. So super excited to continue to learn and hear your feedback and change things up to make them better every time. Next slide. A shameless promo for another live stream that I do with Caruana Gatimu. We do those on Mondays, basically all the news for kind of what happened and what's going forward for 2 weeks. We started saying that we couldn't keep up with everything that was going on at Microsoft, and we thought, well, maybe if we were trying to keep up, we would help you keep up as well. So we do product news, community events, what's going on in the ecosystem, top of mind, big rocks, in case you missed it sections. And then we also have Virginia Bryant from the security team, who is our guest speaker on every other week when we do these. So 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Pacific time on Mondays, and we do put the on-demand version up so you can view it later as well. Next slide. So that leads me to our communications workstream update. Isadora Katanik was on earlier this morning, she's in Europe, and Jennifer is in I believe on the central or east coast, east coast of the United States. Jennifer wasn't able to make it tonight, so I'm going to do the communications work stream. So what this work stream does as part of the MGCI is they are working through driving community growth and engagement. They lead an overall strategy about how we put out comms about MGCI and social media to all of you, to the world, basically. And so they help write, edit, create posts, create blurbs, create graphics, all that sort of thing. We are always looking for folks who want to join MGCI and who are interested in this sort of work stream, or who love doing marketing and amplification. So if you're interested, definitely give a shout out and join the MGCI. And if you want to join the subcommittee, you're more than welcome. We always love more people with the hands-on keyboard, as it were. So next slide. And on the weekly meetings that happen, there's usually newsletters and then social media, like I was saying. The other thing is we track the hashtag community LUV. So if you're posting out there in the world on LinkedIn or Blue Sky or Twitter or wherever, and you want this team to kind of keep an eye out for that and look for that hashtag and help amplify, make sure you put hashtag community love on your upcoming events. Next slide. And that leads me to Tom Daly. Tom, you want to come on? Tom Daly.
Very good.
Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm really good. I love the background there.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I
Your
put I
shirt,
built it myself.
you did? Yeah, your shirt kind of matches. It's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. So
Thanks.
everybody, Tom runs communitydays.org, and if you haven't been here before, so communitydays.org, run by the community, infrastructure on with Microsoft. Super love this partnership. Tom and many volunteers work on this, and QA testing and bugs and all of that goodness, and building this beautiful site. So Tom, go ahead and tell everybody an update on what's going on, and I'll be quiet for a minute. So
Yeah. Thanks for the intro. Again, like I said, I am the developer behind Community Days. It is my volunteer part-time job, but I love it. So we have a lot of things that I've been working on over December and January. So a lot of things. I'm not going to go through every single little thing in detail, but I want to call out some of the newer features that are coming that are bigger. So the first one we have here, that these are rolling out now. They're completed and they're out the door. Actually, most of them are out the door already. Community Days contribution system. So if you've contributed with the feedback, I'm able to pop you in there faster, quicker, instead of waiting for sort of like a deployment, an update to go out. So if you do your contributions, you'll be up on the site for how 30 days or however long it is that you're, if you're part of our team, you usually stay up there for a long time. We have a lot of volunteers that are active in our group, so they're always going to be up there. So the next one here, email header and footer. Email header and footer. So we have pretty blank, boring emails if you're an organizer. So we've put together like a nice header and footer for these emails to go out, so it looks like Community Days email. And one of our helpers, I'll give a shout out to Mark Ron. He was helping out this month, and he actually developed the whole template. So that's coming soon. Just one more little thing to work out, and it should be out there, next week. Homepage content requirements. So as a lot of people there's a lot of events going on, and one of our jobs as a reviewer is to make sure that they're high quality listings that tell you exactly what it is you're clicking on, what it is that you're going to, right? You want to know everything. To make it easier as an attendee, you want to know everything possible about it. So some of the events have put in, not a lot of content up front to describe the event. So we're kind of enforcing a minimum amount of content describing the event. So it's just a step to make our lives as approvers a little easier, because we don't have to go back and forth and ask for that information. The next one there is auto disable tabs. So again, some events that are being posted use our system fully, and they have full, they'll use sessionize, they'll use run events, and they'll have tons of content in there. They'll have sponsors in there. So, and others will not use it as much. Smaller events, they don't need sponsors. Maybe they just have a schedule and they're not doing, they're not going to show all the sessions and speakers. So our event pages are smart enough to auto detect this and sort of trim off the extra tabs. So those are things that are really cool that are coming out that you'll actually see. The rest of them are sort of behind the scenes optimizations and fixes. In the working on it column, these are active development. We are building out profiles for organizers and speakers. So it's just a cool idea that I had to show. If you have a face on the if you're part of an event, whether you're on the speaker board or you're an organizer, you have a face on our site, and you can click into it and see the other events that you've organized, that person's organized, or the other things that they've did a talk at. So it's just a nice way, cool way to kind of explore those people that are on our site. And more stuff to come with that. So that's just kind of like another baby step in the direction I want to take it. So what's next? Another thing here, refining the sponsorship application. So we have the ability to accept sponsorship applications through our site, and it's just a way to open the lines of communications for the event organizers and potential sponsors, so they can easily go in and just say, I would like to sponsor this event, and upload all their information. And then the organizers can just click a button and then they show up on the site. So that process works good. That's how it's been for a couple months now. We got to feedback from Daniel Glenn, who's running an event now. He wanted to use the sponsorship form in a different way that we initially thought of, where, you know, they don't want to fill out the full thing. Maybe they just want to gauge interest. So we're actually refining the sponsorship application process based off of that to make it really quick for a sponsor to just reach out and say, I'm interested in, just to get that conversation started on step one. So that is coming. Those are going to be coming within the next couple weeks. And lastly, what else are we working on? Again, another shout out to one of our community members, Manpreet Singh. He had given me some great feedback about the homepage banner where we're showcasing like the events that are running right now. So we're just going to make a tweak to that. So if the event ends, we're going to kind of pop it off within the next hour or two. We were leaving it up, and that was blocking other events from popping in on that day. So we're gonna take those events down within 2 hours after they're done and just show like the next upcoming events. Also, we had this in our backlog, but he also pointed out too, like he'd like to see the speaker board, which is it's sort of like a rolling total of like the amount, you know, the contributors on our site within community days. So we're going to kind of cut up the speaker board by different time breakdowns, like for 2003, 2004, and then like the latest speakers within the past 365 days. So there's a couple more things in here, you know, back end stuff that's just very helpful, but those are our items for this month. And that's it. So yeah, there's obviously a lot more on the backlog, which we review every week. We review, we close things out, we put things back on. And then if you are interested in signing up, we have the link, which Heather mentioned earlier, MCGI sign up, aka MS, and yeah, there we go. Sign up to that link and mention that you're interested in the tools and technology, and we'll connect and add you to our team of people. And as you're available, free to test and help out with features, that would be great. We're actually looking for any developer types that can do React. Those are hard to come by for volunteers, but we'd love all kinds of volunteers. So that's it. So back to you, Heather.
Yeah, thank you. And Tom, thank you always for your amazing work and the team. And yeah, everybody, it's a great way to learn. It's a great way to network and connect with other people too. So Tom's pretty fun, I gotta say. So.
We have a good time.
We certainly do. So yeah. So Tom, thank you so much. Appreciate the update. And then we're going to bring Sharon on and talk about the event training work stream as well. So yeah. So hi, Sharon Weaver. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm really good. So yeah, everybody welcome Sharon. Sharon is a longtime community member and resort, and but new to this work stream, and wanted to say a big thank you to David Wilhelm and David Levier and Wes Preston, who have been running this work stream for over a year, probably a couple years now. Doing a great job there. David Levy is going to roll off because, that happens where we have people coming in and people coming out. So big thank you. And yeah, Sharon has a bit of an update, but, just getting started. So I'll let you do that and say thanks in advance. So yeah, cool.
Absolutely. So, hello, my name is Sharon Weaver. I am the CEO and founder of Smarter Consulting, and I'm also an MVP and an RD. And as Heather mentioned, I've been around the community for a really long time. I've been doing events for like 20 or 25 years, probably. I did SharePoint Saturday Kansas City for 7 years. I currently run the Kansas City M365 user group, which has been going strong for like 7 or 8 years now. And then I run another conference called CloudCon, in addition to speaking all over the world. So I'm really excited to be able to step into this role and help provide some training around the event space. It's kind of a bonus because my company does about half training and half services as a Microsoft partner. So it's definitely in our wheelhouse. So if you want to pull the slide back up. I don't have a lot of exciting stuff on it, but I will tell you, it is January, so we're all making our plans, and being new to this, we're still kind of working on this. So I'm going to be putting a program together for 2025 and rolling that out in the near future. But in the meantime, we do have an open call for any presenters or volunteers that would like to help with the training work stream. So much like Tom just mentioned in his segment, all you have to do is when you do the sign up, just simply say that you're interested in working on the training work stream, and we will definitely get you kind of, see what your interests are and see where you could potentially participate in that. Our first session for 2025 is January 30th. And right now the plan is we're going to have some event planning 101 and go over the event in a box that is already out there and available for event organizers to use. And I'm getting the presenter finalized for that, but we will definitely have somebody to talk about it. And then stick around, and Wes will be there to answer any questions that you might have around that particular session, or just maybe event management in general. If you're a new producer or a new organizer, or maybe you've been around a little while and you're trying to solve a specific problem, feel free to join us, and we will answer as much as we can based on the knowledge that we have in that group. So that's about all I've got. If you want to bring Heather back.
Thank you, Sharon. That's so great. Super exciting. So next week, event training. So get signed up for the MGCI, and you can hang out with Sharon and Wes and learn about event training 101. So thank you so much. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. See you later. Daniel, let's pull up our illustrious speaker, Audrius. Come on in. Hi.
Hey, hi.
Rock and roll. So for the second time today, bringing us tips on camera, lights, action. So I'll let you do your thing, and thank you in advance for telling and sharing with us. So appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for being here and giving me the stage for my 2 cents on the content I've been doing. So I'm really glad that I have a second chance to share what I have thought to share with you all guys for this presentation. So let's get started. So a little bit about myself. So my job title changes half a year, a couple of times. So today I'm calling myself a digital and creative entrepreneur. I'm passionate about video content and all things Microsoft. I know how it ended up, like everything I need or everything I will need, I think I will find within the Microsoft ecosystem, from organizational, enterprise side, organizing live events, and so on. So how do I help my customers right now? So one of the interesting projects that created right now is that I help build innovative studios tailored to customer premises. So you can think of like multi-camera meeting rooms. That's a new thing, and I think more we're gonna go. It's gonna become more popular. Then another great thing I love doing is large-scale productions, producing impactful town halls and webinars online or hybrid. So I'm really passionate and familiar with the stress when there are 5,000 people waiting and you are the one pushing buttons. So I love that rush through my blood. Then I love to share my Microsoft expertise. I help train the companies to leverage all the Microsoft tools they have. And we do media support for companies who are thinking how they could use Microsoft for marketing, internal communication, training materials, for all of those. So one of the great things I'm passionate about, new passion, is Clipchamp. So I don't know who knows it, but cheers up for those who know who this. It's my one of new favorite apps that's gonna be, I think, huge upcoming year. So for those who don't have time, like I prepared little notes. So short tips for those who are listening. So one of most important, and I think most underlooked feature is whenever you're in a Teams meeting, remember that you can connect multiple cameras to one meeting. My maximum was 7 devices. I was testing. And for example, you can connect computer to the meeting, then a phone to the meeting, and you can choose either you want to use phone camera and computer's microphone. Sometimes our devices get buggy, or dog bites laptop and the microphone doesn't work. So then you can use your phone camera. So be creative, and remember that you're always carrying a camera in your pocket, and you have another one, in your computer usually. So you always have two cameras ready. So don't forget about that and use them. And one funny fact, like the morning session was really interesting because I am connected as well here with two devices, and just because of that I was able to survive when the electricity in the hotel went down. So it's always, when you're in an event or you're a speaker, I would suggest always connecting with the two devices. Better be safe than sorry. So another tip is, don't forget to look at the mirror before the meeting. I'll share in the next slides what it means. It means meet now. So I think everybody who goes in a meeting, you like to take a look. How do you look? So you have that option in Teams. Don't be a banner. So I encourage people come with their context, with a blurred background rather than some corporate banner behind them. And that corporate banner is not as good because AI is really bad hairdresser. So, if you have hair like mine or something, so it cuts really sharp and you become like little, crazy egg. So I suggest just blurring the background. Right now, Microsoft introduced, I think it's called Studio Blur, don't remember right now, but there are like different blurs right now even. So use that if you're in a meeting where you're presenting and you want to be, presentable for the audience. Another thing, don't forget that you are always in control. I know that sometimes when we are participating in a meeting, we are just watching and listening, but you can control the meeting for yourself, for your view. You can switch the views. You can switch either to see the people who are speaking or the slides, and you can even, not spotlight, but pin on your screen your crush if it's in a meeting. Like if you would, that person calms you down and you feel stressful, you can pin it to your screen, and only on your screen that person is going to be full screen. So, there are little tricks I encourage you to try, and hope from this presentation you'll take some and you'll try them tomorrow or even today, for whom it's morning. And another topic, not topic, but tip is, don't forget to take some pictures. That everybody who is in the meeting with a computer, you have a like photo camera there. Just press Ctrl Windows and S, and you can take a snippet of people in a meeting, or if you switch to together view, you can have it nice and visible. So it's nice to share. Okay, let's go on. So another thing I like to do is to help people, when they're presenting in webinars, help to place the laptop how it could be. This image might look a little crazy, but this was the moderator table. He had to see the chat, the people, and the camera. So he used the printer, the chair, everything, so you can get creative. And don't forget that table is not one thing that you have around. You always have books and some other things. So where I go with that? So when I participate in the meetings, and usually when I coach the CEOs or managers, heads of departments, I tend to see like these, different characters. Like either you're this dwarf, that's looking from down. Either you have a light behind you, so it's kind of Darth Vader, or if people put the screen on the table, they have like, I call it dictator's view. So to be more interactive, I would love to switch on my phone camera full screen, so I would be able to show you, how these things work. So, I guess right now all you feel that I'm a little bit taller than you, and unconsciously you might not feel it, but if I'm talking, you think I'm better than you. It's unconscious from Hollywood and everything. So if I have my screen just on the table, I usually have the dictator's angle. This is the angle that it's not seen that much, but sometimes we put laptops higher. So if you want to say sorry to someone, you need to place the camera higher, so you kind of smaller one, and you can say, I'm sorry, I'm truly sorry, and you feel it better than if I would say, I'm sorry. This is like not true. So these are the two. Like right now, I have light, like dark behind my window, but the perfect position would be, placing horizontally camera to the eye level and in front of the window. So then the light would fill your face evenly. And another tip, Tom, that's for you. You had a camera something like this. So I always like to say, how to place the camera. So the same way you place, how you know how to tighten the seatbelt in the car. You put the hand on the screen, and then this is like the proper. So because if you place like this, it looks like you're smaller than you used to be. So if you want to be a normal height and you want to be looking at the camera, so this is how you would place the camera. And you see, my setup is also creative because I'm traveling right now, so I had to get creative in order to have my standing desk with the camera on. So okay, back to my presentation. Okay, I'm back here. So hope now you know when you're gonna see them, you're gonna see them, like the dictators, everyone. So feel free to mention that and help people put the placement of the camera better. So let's go on. So I really like that with AI right now, any crazy idea can be created. So all the images I created myself, and for all the companies right now, I'm using this slide. I'm telling it's time to blow up the dust from your Porsche or any other supercar which was standing in your garage all this time. So this is how I see technology, Microsoft technology, Teams, particularly like a dusted supercar in everyone's garage. So right now I will try to give you some tips so you would know, and how to blow the dust from your car and start driving that fancy tech solution. So let's dig in. So I was mentioning the mirror, and this is a button that usually skips everyone's eyes, but you might seen it if you go in the calendar view. There is a Meet Now button, and if you press this Meet Now button, it will create a meeting with yourself. So it will show you your view full screen on your computer. So actually you will have possibility to see and see how do you look for other people, not in a small window but in a full screen. And as well, I encourage you to press this button once in like not once, maybe more times, because then you can test all the other buttons which are there. So these are settings that you can access if you are in the meeting. So I encourage to try in the solo meeting with yourself to play with these settings. So if you choose the camera settings and you scroll down, there are appearance graph where are two settings that are by default off. So adjust brightness is by default off. What it does, it lightens up the view, like it brightens up the camera like sometimes twice. So if you're sitting in a dark room, try pressing this button as you see the magic happen. You'll become nice and bright. Then another one is soft focus. So this is like a beautify filter, not a beautify, but maybe softening the skin. Sometimes when you don't have, like, you're so passionate about the tech, you're creating a presentation so 2 in the morning, like me. So sometimes I would like, to smoothen myself. So I encourage you to not to overdo this setting, because 1/3 is my most recommended feature, like setting, because if you would go all the way to the right, you would become like with a soft skin as a baby face. Sometimes you might want to do that if you're, I don't know, in a certain environments, but 1/3 I find the most, like, it doesn't change your perspective, it just smoothens a little bit and it's easier for the eye. And another option is that mirror my video, and this is like for those who are into psychological books or some more crazy ideas. Please play with this setting, because everybody knows that the mirror is a liar. So whenever we see ourselves in a mirror, it's not actually how other people see us. So if you want to see how other people see you, you should switch that mirror my video option, and don't be scared. You might your brain might send signals, oh no, switch it off. But the more you look at yourself without the mirror image, the easier it is to look at your pictures, take photos, and so on. So, all these settings are there to get creative. And next to it, you see in the middle avatars. It's not so new. I think it's been around a year. It's a feature which is like, every time I look, it has new buttons. Yesterday I snapped the print screens for this presentation, and I found there is new experimental settings, so you can put your own background for avatar. So what's avatar? Avatar is like the not artificial, but 3D personality of yours, which can do reactions on your command. And reactions, you can, favorite file, but there's more than 20 different reactions. So you can actually react to the person talking, so they would feel if it's like on track, or, the content is not sticking. You can choose the background. You can even choose the avatar mood. If it's a bad day, you can go on the left, but it's a happy day, go all the way right. So please, play with it. Sometimes, you don't feel like turning on the camera. So that's the point when you should try avatars, because I think it should go like this, with the camera, if you can. If you can't use the camera, use the avatar. And yeah, that's it. I would not encourage anybody to be in a meeting without physical representation, like of you, embodiment, because then you're just like a dot, on the screen, like a fly on the wall. And I think everybody is more than a fly on a wall. So with the avatars and all these cool features, you can become more and participate in the meeting. And these avatars are funny because they bring us to the new era. And I'm gonna show you in this next slide what is, mesh view, what's immersive space. But this slide, I wanted to stop and say to all of you that you please don't get stuck in the gallery view. If you choose in the meeting view, you can see that you can change the view to yourself. Like you can go to together mode. You can, turn on the sign language. And if you have your preview features turned on for your teams, you can even choose to go immersive space. And what is immersive space? Immersive space is a mesh environment where your avatar is actually moving. You can, like in the game, you can use the keyboard and walk around, play a game of cornhole, by, throwing these little pillows to the hole on the ground. You can burn the marshmallows. You can participate in a town hall. And what struck me the most is that in this environment, what is done is proximity-based microphones. So that means if I'm stepping out of the meeting area, and going somewhere else, I only can speak with the people who are close to me. So it gives me the feeling when we were testing with the colleagues that you are in the, some physical space, where I can walk. I can, invite someone. Okay, let's go at the fire and let's talk and don't disturb all the others. So I'm really eager to see where it will go with the mesh environments and how these tools going to be used when everybody will have it. So I think next year is going to be interesting, and I can't wait to have a general session in mesh environment. I think in a year that's going to be possible, or even sooner. We'll see. So these are the features I wanted to cover inside the meeting. And right now, if you still have time and patience, I want to cover meeting types, like different meeting times, what they're for, and when to use what. So if you press schedule a meeting and you expand that, if you expand that meeting type, you would see that you can create a webinar, town hall, or virtual appointment. It could be more settings if your admin is clever and created more meeting options, but these are by default really nice features. So webinar, why it's for? So with the webinar, you can create interactive event with a registration. And I'm gonna put a point on the registration because it creates a website that you can personalize for a registration of attendees. And that registration is not just simple, name, surname, email. You can add all the different fields and questions to the attendees before the webinar. So you would know who are coming. And you can even do the approval only registration. So for example, you can, don't let your competitors in the webinar and so on. Or for example, you can limit the spaces and the registration closes when you have, for example, 100 seats filled. And it's best for external audiences, training sessions, and product launches because it uses all the great features of Q&A, polls, attendee engagement tools. So we really encourage everybody to use it because I think too many times already I've seen companies who have teams. Like everybody thinks if they use Teams, like if they use chat in Teams, they're using Teams. No. If you're using chat in Teams, you're using Teams as a Skype. And Teams is not a Skype. So the chat function, I really like with the new updates that there's not a button of Teams and chat. They're kind of connected. I don't know if you all see that, but it's really nice how it's all shaping together. So the webinars, I encourage to use those. Then the town halls. Town halls is a new feature, not a new feature. It comes as a new option for previous Teams live events. Teams live events been around for a long time, and it was lacking audience engagement tools. So, for example, town halls are used to produce events for the large audience. I've been in productions with 15,000 participants and 7,000 participants, and for those events, you want the technology to work, and that's where Microsoft comes and always delivers. So its key features are high production value with advanced controls, designed for large-scale internal and external audiences, and it allows pre-recorded and live content blending, so it has more producer-like features. So mostly town halls are used for internal audiences, but if you want get your message out for 20,000 customers or just audience, town hall would be your option. And last but not least is a virtual appointment. And the virtual appointment is a meeting where you can customize the lobby. And customizing the lobby features come when you have Teams premium license, but it's a little price to pay for all the benefits you have. I always encourage people who are afraid of licensing fees and everything. I say, try finding alternatives. There is none, for such a perfect tool, which it might be huge. It takes time to understand, but when you get it, and you can do all the different and engaging events. So virtual appointment, it's also look at this, and this list of meeting options is not finalized. If you are familiar with the Teams admin centers, you can create even more predefined settings for the meetings, and you can call customer meetings. So your employees or your colleagues could easily create a meeting without changing every time the settings that you would need to change for every meeting, for that meeting. So that's it. I think I've covered it all. So thank you all for listening. I think we have time for a couple of questions if we have some.
Let's see. I think we mostly have great sessions. So cool. So it was more comments than questions, to be honest with you. Let me look. I'm looking at YouTube. Yeah. No, it was people saying hello from different places around the world. And then let's see. Is there another? Yep. It was just a lot of kudos.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. I think everybody's using those settings, and I was like, everybody's like, okay, we know all these features. Others need to come up with a new slide deck, a new presentation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's so funny. So those of you who weren't on this morning, so like we had what, an internet outage, your power
Yeah,
went out. Like there
yeah,
was like everything that could have happened, during one of these kind of happened to you. So it was like watching in real time, you're a pro as well, like dealing with it. It was amazing. Like he was like, oh, and I'm just going to switch to my second camera. I was just
yeah.
like, okay. It was great. So,
Thank you.
yeah, so that was great too. And then seeing it today as well, I do love, it's like people, like my light's kind of cool, like, or at least for me, that's how I feel like I'm showing up. And I even have Elgato fancy stuff that I play with and all of that. But yeah, you do get people who are like this. Sometimes you're like, whoa, back up, or
Yeah,
all of that. So I think those are great tips. And I had said earlier, I've done the same thing that you in a hotel room where I've like upended a wastebasket or found a box or like got the tray from underneath the coffee or whatever because I have a Surface too, right? So
yeah.
like,
It's harder to place, but the Surface,
yeah,
it's not that easy. Like with a laptop, it's easy. You just put it.
yeah,
With the Surface, you can
totally.
even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are great tips and tricks. I really appreciate this. And I know everybody
And
is as
to
well.
sum up, and for example,
Yeah.
people are, when we are organizing like on-site events, people
Hmm.
are worrying about, coffees, where they're gonna stand, placing
Right.
the, directions, and we have to put that energy on in the online events as well.
Right.
Like, yes, to use that energy for repetitions, for
Hmm.
dry runs, for
Yep.
checking the cameras, for having this, speaker calls where you help each other find the
Hmm.
perfect place. Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's easy to be a judge for your own image. So I encourage every time you speak for the larger audience than 10, I think that's already a
Mhm.
huge audience.
Yeah.
You should look closer to your image because those people are looking at you. And
Yeah.
if you don't, pay attention, your message might not get across as beautifully as it would
Yeah.
with a nice image.
Yeah, someone was saying, it's like audio sometimes or the visuals you can forgive, but if audio is bad too. But you're right, like it's the full package, right? When
Yeah.
you're doing these sorts of things. So yeah, no, I really appreciate you. And I know I think we're gonna have you on another time to talk even deeper about some of this stuff. So we'll
I
have
love
you
it.
back
I
for
love it.
sure. So, yeah, really appreciate it. So thank you everybody. And we're gonna talk a couple of more minutes about events. So Audrius, yay! So that was awesome. We'll put the slides back for a second and just look at, yeah, so here's that feedback link and QR code. So if you want to give us some feedback or just put it in one of the chats as well, if you're like, yay, more of this kind of thing, and if this format, or if you're like, oh, I'd really like a Teams meeting, let us know. We'll definitely check that out. And then just to go over a couple of the slides on events that we have. These are the free events that are coming up now through March that are up on the communitydays.org site. I mean, see, there's a lot going on. I think today's the 21st. And so we've had a couple earlier last week, and then coming into M365 Miami's coming up, LATAM Summit, Community Days Bremen, Phoenix, DC, Knoxville, AMP, Yaoundé. I think I said that correctly. So yeah, so those are all coming up, and then we've got a few paid events. So do you have to pay to go to register for those? But lots of CS LATAM's coming up in Mexico City. We've got an event in Copenhagen, Experts Live, the Digital Workplace, W Ireland's event in New Zealand there, and the Fab Conference coming up in Vegas. So lots of stuff going on. I know TechCon is happening in May. Microsoft 365 Community Conference is coming up in May. European Collab Summit is coming up in May. There's a lot of shows in May. So lots of good stuff coming in. And yeah, and if you want to put up our last slide, there's a reminder for February general session call. Michelle Ziemba is going to talk about automating events and how to use automations with scheduling events. So again, share your feedback. Join us on aka.ms/MGCI and have a wonderful rest of your month. Thank you for joining us. Big love and goodness, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you. And we want to bring everybody back up. If there's people still around, I don't know if people left. All of our speakers. Daniel, you want to bring everybody up real quick? Daniel's like, you probably hit the button. He's like, we're done.
And,
Well, Daniel, you too.
Sorry.
Come on.
Here.
Hey,
Still
okay,
here.
everybody. Yes, jazz hands and waves and goodness and community and woot woot and yay. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Daniel. Really appreciate it. Good night and good afternoon. All right.
Bye. Good night.
Okay,
Bye.
cheers.